Hey, what is up guys? We are going to be going over the top 10 worst designed Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are legal in the game today. And what I mean by bad design is simply that they have some type of effect or they have some wording on it that simply just makes the card not only too good, but it inherently just has a bad design. So first off, let's kick it off with the ice cream cone number 11, Big Eye. So the reason why this card is absolutely absurd, not only is it a good target for something like Deck Devastation Virus or Eradicator, he's got good attack, good defense, and the fact that he steals a monster with literally no downside other than he can't attack. The monster that you can steal, you can tribute it, you can synchro with it, you can XYZ with it, you can basically do whatever you want with the monster, and that's why it's absolutely just too good. And the fact that you can actually use this effect twice absolutely just becomes too good in the game. I know Goyo Guardian is banned. Goyo Guardian not only has to be able to attack and kill the monster, but it also special summons the monster in defense mode. And if it's XYZ monster, since it hits the graveyard, the materials fall off. So Big Eye just steals a monster immediately, and you can obviously use the XYZ's effect because, like I said, Goyo, once the monster hits the graveyard, the materials fall off, and there's no downside to this card. Absolutely just way too good. Next up, we have another really meta card, Spellbook of Judgement. Overall, this card was just badly designed. I mean, it wasn't like anyone set up for any combos or anything. It's just you activate Spellbook of Judgement, activate everything, and then you simply gain significant card advantage in the game. Now, next up, this card isn't meta anymore, but there still are players that play it. It's Gateway of the Six. I can't tell you guys how salty I am when someone opens up with Gateway. At that point, if you're going second and they open up with Gateway, if you don't have a max C, even if you're not if you're playing something super high tier, you can simply still lose to Gateway because it starts so many ridiculous combos and so much ridiculous field advantage. And if that wasn't enough, I mean, majority of the time the effect of Gateway is generally just used to add the 6 samurai monster, but it has so many other effects. It's like, well, okay, they finally got a monster that's stronger than Shin. Okay, well then I'm just going to boost myself up to so much attack where it doesn't even matter. I'm just going to basically OTK you, and on top of that, when they're boosting up their attack, they're getting free cards. It's just absolutely way too good in the game. Next up, we have Machina Fortress. This card, like I said, some of these cards aren't very meta, but they're just kind of badly designed. The fact that he's able to discard himself is a bad design in itself, because his effect, it reads, you can discard machine-type monsters whose levels equal 8 or more to special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. The fact that you can actually discard himself, if you guys didn't know, early on when this card came out, there was a lot of players that were playing this and didn't discard himself. I'm not sure if when they actually designed that card, if they actually realized that you can actually discard itself. I didn't know that for a long time. I didn't think you can discard himself. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. Basically what it comes down to is you can discard himself plus any level 1 or higher machine, and you get a huge monster. It has a fantastic effect. Not only is his special summoning condition really easy, but the fact that, if you target him, I get to look at your hand, and then I get to get rid of a card. If you destroy him by battle, I get to destroy one card you control. He just has way too many effects, and the fact that you can special summon him overall makes him just a bad designed Yu-Gi-Oh card. Next up, Honest. I can't tell you how many times I've won games because of Honest, and also I've lost games because my opponent had Honest. This card overall is just, I've never been a fan of hand traps that increased damage. There's one Flammable card that increases it by like 200. That one I don't really care about. But cards like Kalu and Honest punish you for basically just making a basic attack. It's just so unfortunate when, your opponent has, one weak monster and you're like, it's nothing, it's Illumina. I can summon my Shura and attack over it and I'll get a free value. And then sometimes they'll be like, okay, I dropped triple Honest. And if you're at low life points, you've lost that game essentially because they're going to boost their attack up so high. And Honest is just overall a bad design card, not simply because his effect to simply be able to, just boost up the attack, but also having 1900 defense points. It's absolutely ridiculous. Plus, if he is face up on the field, you can return him to the hand. So that means, if I summon Judgment Dragon and blow up the field, I can normal summon Honest, poke at you for 1100, put him back in my hand, so he's still there as, a hand trap. Plus, I got 1100 damage for free. That's just way too good. Plus, the huge defense on him. Why does he have to have high defense? Realistically, I think he should have low defense. But, anyways, next card up, Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger. I mean, this card is just bad, not only because of his effect. I mean, the piercing damage is definitely nice, but the fact that you can just bring him out with any rank 5 or 6, you can just throw it right on top of it. Why do rank 5 and 6s not have the effect of, don't worry about the downsides, you make Gaia Charger and you get piercing damage? I know it does technically take room up in the extra deck, but if you're playing something like number 61 Volcasaurus, obviously that card has the effect of you can't attack your opponent directly. But that effect is not, relevant when you could just be like, oh, throw a Gaia Charger, no problem. Now I not only have 2600 attack that can attack you directly with it, but I also have piercing damage. That's absolutely just a bad designed Yu-Gi-Oh card. Next up we have Rekindling. Now, Laval's have been doing good in OCG. It was a while ago, but Laval's did do good in OCG, and I was surprised that this card didn't get touched at all, because this card is absolutely just bad. It's just poorly designed, especially when all the monsters in your graveyard that are fire have 200 defense is just absolutely way too good. I mean, I know that there's quote-unquote the downside, that during the end phase remove from play all monsters that were special summoned by this effect. Now, that is really irrelevant because majority of the time you're going to synchro, you're going to XYZ. Even though when this card came out there were no XYZ monsters, there were still huge synchro plays. There was actually a deck that topped a few times. It was called, some called it Rekindling Lightsworn, some called it, it wasn't Laval Lightsworn, it was Flamvell Lightsworn. That was the deck that was it was called when it topped. Basically, they would just run Lightsworns, and they would also run cards like Flamvell Magician and Flamvell Fire Dog. And then they would go for Rekindling for ridiculous plays. I mean, if they drop a JD and then go off for Rekindling, it's like game over. Majority of the time, it was JD to blow up the field, and then technically, yeah, if you did have 5 monsters, it would kind of suck. But the monsters can attack that turn. There's no really downside to this card, other than, they can only be 200 defense. But that would be really ridiculous if it didn't have that effect. Next up, this is kind of like a 2-for-1 card, because I kind of consider these, both kind of OP, and they're pretty much used in a combo together. Onslaught of the Fire King plus Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Both these cards are in the structure deck, and they have an absurd effect. If your opponent controls a monster, no problem. I'm just going to go ahead and get a huge 27 beater and blow up your field. And if I'm destroyed by battle, I'm going to get an effect. And if you destroy it by card effect, I'm going to come back the next turn and blow up your entire field. I still don't understand how this card is not meta. I understand at the current metagame, Spellbooks and E-Dragons are like beyond good. But this card and Onslaught of the Fire King is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that you can still get a smaller card that gets out this card, there's a, I don't think it's called Baby Garunix, but there's a smaller version of this card. It's called like, I don't know, something Garunix. But it allows you to get, the bigger Garunix out, and then when this is destroyed, you can just get the small one. It's just like, are you serious? This is absolutely absurd for a card combo. Next up, we have a card that has some of the worst card text that has been ever known to Yu-Gi-Oh! If you guys know about this card, you guys feel the pain. Vayu the Emblem of Honor. If you guys played when Black Wings were popular, this was a very popular card. A lot of decks made like 1 to 2, but this card just had a bad design in itself, because it had the effect of you can't Royal Oppression it, you can't Solemn Warning it, you can't War Chariot Vayu. Well, let me be honest, you can Solemn Warning, you can War Chariot, you can technically Royal Oppression this card, but it doesn't stop Vayu's effect. It would just be like, okay, it would be like activating the Solemn Warning on a Treeborn Frog that comes back. It will just come back during the same standby phase, so it doesn't really matter. And that's absolutely ridiculous that, Vayu is just one of those cards where you just can't do anything to it. It's one of those cards. And there were actually a lot of times where, I was hearing judges trying to explain the ruling, and then there were actually times where I've had a lot of judges actually say, to save, some time, because I was watching this game that 2 players were playing, and they were going to go into time relatively soon. He's like, I'm just going to save you the time, because for me to explain reasons why you can't Royal Oppression Vayu is going to take me a long time, because there's so many, secret little commas and all those little things in Vayu that make him so he's like the special card that you can't stop. And lastly, we have TG Stryker. This card, way too good. He's just as good as BLS. That's why he's at 1. No, this card is more of a joke. But yeah, seriously, why is TG Stryker at 1? I don't understand it. I don't understand. He's like one of the best design cards, because if you actually synchro with him, you don't get his effect. So I feel like he's just an excellent card, and he's not poorly designed. Why is this card at 1? This card was more here as a joke. But I want to know, because, I didn't actually put 10 cards in here, as you guys can see. This was supposed to be the 10th card, but I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below, what is the card that you think has the worst design? For me, I kind of feel like BLS has a bad design, even though it's kind of one of those cards that kind of went banned and it came back. A lot of the cards that I mentioned, all these cards are not banned at all, and they actually have not ever been banned. But who knows? Maybe these two over here might see the banhammer. But yeah, let me know what card you think is the most poorly designed Yu-Gi-Oh card in the game. Personally, for me, out of everything, I really find Vayu just because he's one of those cards where he's like, nope, nothing can stop me, I am Vayu. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes, signing out.